everyone, Sean Smith here with Dedicated Commercial Recovery in Roseville, Minnesota. I'm the founder and CEO. We have our guest today, Judy Watke from Feed My Starving Children. Judy, welcome to the vlog.
Thank you.
And so Judy has been my primary contact at Feed My Starving Children. There was a brief intercession with a wonderful gentleman named Martin. But in general, Judy's been kind of our biggest cheerleader since we first brought the idea to Feed My Starving Children. And I thought it'd be great to have her on the vlog for several reasons. So, Judy, again, welcome. And if you wouldn't mind just giving folks kind of your background, maybe like Feed My Starving Children, now what is your role and how long you've been there and things like that, that'd be great.
Yeah, thank you. What a privilege to be here with all of you and with you, Sean. Before FMSC, my heart to serve at FMSC was simply being a mom. As a mom with 2 kids, it was my desire to feed my own children, and it actually was during the recession in 2010 where we had our own poverty in our own family, and it was my kids who pushed me out of the nest and said, "You fed us, go feed somebody else." So it's been my privilege to be at FMSC for 11 years now, working first in the packing room with volunteers, and then now as a development manager. What that simply means in the nonprofit world in development, it means mission advancement, furthering the mission, working with volunteers, with donors, with supporters, and engaging them in our mission. So it's been my privilege to do that. I manage a team of 5 people here through FMSC, and I also have the privilege of having just a group of donors, including Dedicated Commercial Recovery.
Well, it sounds like a lot of hats, what you just listed off there. It sounds very, I can relate to that very much. So if you wouldn't mind I think it'd be fun to share, from your perspective, because we're going on a partnership now. I want to say it's right around 5 years of working together. And Feed My Starving Children was the first organization that we even reached out to. And I remember just being worried, is anyone going to want to work with a debt collection agency and have their nonprofit name associated with us? And but I think it'd be fun just to share with folks from your perspective, kind of what's been your experience with Dedicated, both from the start and kind of now up till now.
Yeah, and I'm just going to pull back a little bit. Feed My Starving Children is a Christian nonprofit based in the Twin Cities. We've been in business for about 30 years as a nonprofit, so very much like your startup, it was just a vision, it was an idea, it was an innovation, it was somebody who went into a developing nation and said, there are starving children here and I can do something about it. And so it's through these Manapack meals that we serve with the vitamins, veggies, soy, and rice that we can distribute this year 370 million meals around the world to over 70 countries. So we are grateful and thankful for that. But our Dedicated story is really one that touches my heart. I had just started in my role, Sean, and it actually was a gift of $400 that you gave online. And at fmsc.org, when you leave a gift, you can also leave a comment. And you left a comment that intrigued me. So I made a call to you at your other office. You were a startup company back then. Literally, I think the number of employees, the heads that I counted, were maybe 5, just 5 years ago. Yeah. And I came in, you shared your vision, shared your desire and what you're doing, but also the heart to give back. And what I heard immediately was the integrity and the dedication and the devotion to serving others. It wasn't just collecting something, it was what you were going to give back. And that intrigued me as well. And I just remember when you wiped that number on that whiteboard, you were tallying your work and relating it to meals. And I knew that your heart was there from the very beginning. So from that $400 gift, we've done many things together. Your teams have come in, we've engaged them in our packing room, and I am so grateful and can't wait to see where this is going to go.
It'd be fun to go back and even see what that comment is. I'm pretty well known for lots of interesting comments, but just to give you background from my perspective too, for the audience out there, is that when we started, it was every deal we collected, we donate 1 meal. So literally we had this big whiteboard in the office, and I think at that point we had 2 or 3 collectors already because we grew we've grown really fast since inception, which has been pretty wild to be a part of. But so someone would write like their numbers each day. We'd start with, you've collected $10,000 or whatever, and then if you collected more, you go and put, I collected $1,000 up there, and then you put a ticky mark for feeding one meal. And then, 5, you put the cross in there. So then we update that number at the end of the day, like, hey, you fed 10 kids this month or something like that. And I remember us celebrating feeding like 296 kids or something like that. And we were all just so pumped about that. Like, what a cool concept. And now anyone who partners with Dedicated, every time you place an account, we feed 10 kids. Every time we collect a deal, we feed another 10, and then every person that works at Dedicated, for every day they work, we donate another 10, as well as we just try to be sponsors and involved, and so we end up doing over that. It's funny, I was trying to figure it out, like the metrics and how it should be, and we ended up being like 30 meals over our goal anyways. It just, God's blessed us with some cool abundant stuff, and so we like to give back. So, my next question was just like, I think there's a real opportunity for business. I know for us as really moving towards a for-purpose company, that our brand is really attached to fighting slavery, feeding children, helping stop domestic violence, helping families who've lost someone in combat, to helping inner city youth through mentorship and STEM and robotics and things like that, and sponsoring a team there. So a lot of different avenues. But for Feed My Starving Children, I'd love for you to share with the audience just kind of what is the impact of businesses partnering with Feed My Starving Children, and just like what does that mean to Feed My Starving Children?
Oh man, it is so important to us. We are a volunteer-based organization, so when businesses come in and volunteer with us, they are our workforce as well. I feel it's a two-way relationship. We're not just in the community trying to get something from businesses. I believe it's two-way. So when your team comes in, it's a great team-building opportunity. We have groups that come in and literally use our packing room to work on process improvement, or to build up the team, or to remind people that giving back is really important. Some of them see it as training. Some of their employees have never actually given to something, and they feel that they can lead the way. So we know that the hairnet and the volunteering and coming in the packing room is a great way to engage. Also with the donations, we believe that corporate social responsibility is something that everybody should be involved in, from the startup company to the family organization to the Fortune 500. Look, we're all doing business in this community. Look out your window wherever you're working today. There are people making everything work through the economic development, through the product you're selling, through the service you're providing, and we're doing the same thing. And so when you feed kids with FMSC, what you're doing is providing a meal. 40% of our meals go to kids in school lunches. If we can keep kids in school around the world, imagine their economic development. Imagine the potential of a child whose only reason they're not thriving today is simply because we've got a poor distribution problem, really, with the resources that we have. There's enough food to feed everybody.
Right.
So let's get together as a business community. Let's get out there and do great things. About 20% of our donations come from businesses and over 50% of it from individuals. But imagine every business who comes in has an individual behind it. So not only is your business supporting us, but any person who works here could come in and also be a supporter. So we need you for that reason as well.
Yeah, I think business has the greatest opportunity to change the world, and we're dedicated to taking steps to prove that we can do that. That with really a business type that has had one of the worst reputations since eternity, right? And yet we have, I just looked, we have 125 5-star Google reviews. We have great Indeed and Glassdoor reviews from people who work here, because there's greater purpose behind what we do. And that's really what I want to show the business community is, that's crazy to me that only 20% are coming from businesses and the rest from individuals. There is massive opportunity in this world called profit that businesses have, that you can give away 2%, 5% of your profit to an amazing mission like this, and that dwarfs what a single individual contributor can typically do. And so I think there's just, and then same thing with people's time. That's the other massive opportunity that businesses have, is that they capture so much of people's time. If that time is wrapped up in a greater purpose in feeding kids and getting them in a position where they can actually win, right? Really hard to focus on school if you're starving, and having been to Haiti numerous times, I've seen that firsthand of just a life-changing effect that food and school have on a child's opportunity to succeed. So I think that's amazing. I'd be interested, so it starts with this interesting comment and, leads to this partnership. And recently, the end of last year, we hit feeding over 1 million children. And I truly believe with our partners and our crew, we're going to feed 1 million children in 1 year. So what took close to 4 years to do, to hit 1 million children, we should do in 1 year now, which is incredible. And, we're praying that happens, and we need partners to, get us accounts, get us business, and our team to step up and do well on that. But, again, I've just always called you our biggest cheerleader at Feed My Starving Children. How did you process us hitting that feeding 1 million children? What was that like from your perspective?
Oh my world, that just blows me away. It blows me away. What I find is that the family-owned business, it's an individual champion. It's the person who has that solid faith and belief that one person can make a difference, and then multiply that. So when I think about what you've done in that short amount of time, it does remind me of the Gospels and the feeding of 5,000. So when I go back scripturally to our greatest teacher, Jesus Christ, teaching people, and then having his small group of disciples saying, hey, they're kind of hungry and we should send them home. And Jesus in Mark chapter 6, verse 37 says, you feed them. Sean, that's what you did. You took that principle and decided God could feed everybody. Jesus could just say the word. But he decided to use you. So you have the equivalent of 5 loaves and 2 fishes. And that's exactly what you did with that first 1 million meals. And that's what you're going to do again. And I just can't tell you, it just blows me away. You are a role model, dedicated as a role model to others. I use your example frequently because we want to see more businesses do it. So I'm praying for you, I'm encouraging you, I'm supporting your team. I'll keep cheerleading and doing any crazy thing you want me to do just so that we can feed more kids.
Hey, amen. I appreciate that. That's, I'm going to give credit always to God on that, and just really saving me when I was younger and focusing, and really Haiti. I mean, I've always said this, Haiti's done more for me than I could ever do for it, but I'll spend the rest of my life giving back to that country because of its amazing people and just the heart and the faith that they have. I couldn't come back from witnessing what I saw down there without knowing I had to do something. And that's why we do sponsored trips down there. Unfortunately, the one that's supposed to be happening in basically like 2 weeks got canceled, so we'll have another one in January. And what you said reminded me of, there's a show out there called The Chosen. Phenomenal. If you haven't watched it, check it out. It's on its own app. But the director, Dallas Jenkins, said, I had realized that it wasn't my job to feed the 5,000. It was just my job to provide the fishes and loaves and let him do the work. And same thing with dedicated. It's like I can't wrap my brain around feeding the 500,000, the 5 million that the need is out there, right? But I can provide my fishes and loaves and let him multiply that. And that's what he's done, and that's what our partners and the advocates out there. There's people out there, friends of mine that I've met out there who have referred dedicated in. We've just grown at such a tremendous rate because of the community support and the banking, the leasing, the alternative finance industries out there that sometimes people don't even have any form of vested interest in recommending us, but they know what we're about, they believe in it. And now to see companies like ROK Financial out of New York, they partnered with Feeding America, and they've provided 154,000 meals. And just to see stuff like that is so exciting. And I just believe that's people are going to gravitate towards that business. I think massive opportunity to be a for-purpose business. So, thank you. That was something that we wanted to do, and just we knew that no one could ever take that away from us. You know, and now it's about hitting that 10 million mark, and then 100 million, and then just getting the position where dedicated, and it's you know, the other companies I'm associated with, we either feed over 1 billion children or we eradicate starvation and hunger worldwide. So
I'll do it.
So you know, I think it'd be great for you to tell everyone, you know, what does the future look like for Feed My Starving Children, especially around the realm of sustainability. You know, that question always comes up. I feel very adequate to answer that, but you know, sure, you're giving out the fish, but how are we teaching someone to fish, and what is the future growth plans, and what are the needs out there? You know, what does the future look like for Feed My Starving Children? And then maybe on the end of that, just you know, the different ways businesses, you know, could get involved.
Mm-hmm. Great question. Let me start, as you talked about Haiti, I'll just take your audience to just another place in the world. I've been in rural Uganda a few times, and you know, to take the FMSC meals there, when you're literally taking bags of meals and you're giving them to a public school in a rural area. Imagine 200 kids going to school, all of them walkers, all of them need to bring their own lunch, and their classrooms are basically like a horse stable. I literally thought we had pulled up to a horse stable as you see these half doors swing open and these dark, there's not even chairs for everybody. And the headmistress is thanking us for bringing the meals. And here's what happened, Sean. School started and they had 200 kids, right? You're in a rural area, nobody's really taking attendance. Nobody knows who's coming, which kids are working in the fields, which ones are being, you know, passed on to do work for somebody else at 10 years old, at 8 years old. So we get there and 200, you know, we're expecting to see 200 kids. And there is a student who gets up and he gives his theme of why FMSC meals matter. And he reads to us in English, their national language, 7 reasons why FMSC meals matter. One of the reasons being that 100 additional kids showed up at school within 6 weeks because they heard that food was there. Mm-hmm. But they've gotten to the second book. They'd never gotten to the second book before, but now we're reading the second book. Most kids drop out, they're too tired. He's explaining that they don't fall asleep in class. They want to come every day. Attendance rates are up. So he's giving us that sustainability. Sometimes we think such big things here in America that they can't even dream yet. So on a small scale sustainability looks like kids staying in school till at least 6th grade in most of the developing nation, and then going on to get a trade, and then going on and changing their economy and their community, and certainly their own family and their outlook. Sustainability for FMSC means that we want to multiply what we're doing. So because of COVID-19, all of our volunteers experienced shutdown, just like everything else that we remember over a year ago. So we now have contracted assisting packers. So we are contracting with vendors to get meals out. We've also built our own machine here in Eagan, Minnesota. Wow. So we'll be manufacturing meals real soon, putting them in the bags with a machine that we own, and it was Minnesota businesses and supporters that paid for those machines, and we'll just build out a small team to do that. That's the way we're going to multiply what we're doing. Still focused on the volunteer experience, but coming up with some other ways to pivot and be innovative so that we can feed more people. Then what we do is allow our partners to do that sustainability. One project we just worked on was taking out the rice, the grain, and having only 3 ingredients so we can source locally, so they can source a local grain. Now that's a way to be innovative, to say, look, we want to work with you to source your own grain and get farmers back in the field and build out businesses there while we provide the key ingredients that you can't get in your local community. So we have a lot of sustainability plans in place, not only with FMSC and the work that we do, but also through our partnerships that we have around the world.
And there's a lot of amazing partners too that are taking, you know, that next step. And you know, when I've been asked the question along, I was like, okay, you're helping feed someone, what's the next step? And then I just said, there's a lot of always plans for the next step. There's things in place. There's other partners. There's handoffs. But at the same time, the heart of that question is I challenge people to say, if someone's starving, give them the fish. You know what I mean? Like, we're happy to introduce them to the fishermen or whatever, but if they need an apple, if they need some food, let's get food in their bellies, get them in school, things like that. And then there's the hope is that allows them to focus on helping their in school and their economy and things like that, and so that those things do become sustainable. And I would just really challenge folks that are listening, if you're in a position, whether you're an individual or run a team or own a business, look at partnering with Feed My Starving Children or organizations like it where you can give back. And the purpose side of it, when you intertwine that with everything you do internally in business, is beyond powerful. I could go off on a whole tangent on the business case that's there for it, not just on the what it does to your culture and how good it feels to do that, but actually the way the market responds, the way the team responds, it's just it has, I feel it's saved us more money than we've probably even given, to be honest with you. So I hope more people do that. And I guess that kind of leads to kind of one of my final questions is just, if there's a business or a person out there, how would they contact you and what would that look like?
Yeah, and first I want to comment on what you said. Look, no business has ever come back and asked for their money back because they had a bad year. So as a business principle, when you do good, you feel great about it. As soon as it leaves your hands, you realize maybe it wasn't all yours anyway. So I would encourage anybody who feels they can to give sacrificially and do a little more. And if you want to get involved, the best way is to reach us at fmsc.org. That's the way you can reach me, but you can contact me. Happy to give out my contact information to anybody who's listening and would like to talk to me and learn a little more. It's jwatke, that's JWATKE at fmsc.org, and my work number 763-439-6170. Would be happy to talk to anybody about volunteering, a mobile pack event across the U.S., how to get connected with your donations, creating a plan that your employees could engage in and get behind, like Sean has explained today. So we'd love to work with you. It just would be our privilege and our blessing.
And we'll put her contact information just so it's down in the description below. And we'll be tagging FMSC and just and Judy and things like that on the different various platforms. But a heartfelt thank you, Judy, to you, and just all of the encouragement. Business, anyone who owns a business knows it's a roller coaster. It's it's a wild ride, and just to have people as a cheerleader in your corner and helping you and supporting your mission, believing in you, and then just doing amazing impact together. For me, I've been into the slums. I've helped make the food. I've actually eaten the food in country with children in a soccer program. I have held the hand of a little infant that she was actually 1 year old, but she weighed about as much as an infant, and she had just gotten placed. There's a formula like this, but it's for babies, and that was what was sustaining her and bringing her back to life. And it's those moments that are really life-changing, that if you lean into this concept of anyone, whether a business or a leader or an individual, if you'll put your focus on helping others, if you'll plant good seed, it's going to come back. And I'm not surprised no businesses ever ask for the money, because you can't put good in the ground and not have it grow. And this is just a great way for anyone, both with your time and serving and doing packing events. And you can check them out. They have nationwide opportunities, and as mobile pack opens up more, there'll be more opportunities to even do a mobile event. If you own a large company, you can put something together, or to donate and to celebrate that and actually have a metric to say, our company or our family helped this many children be sustained, whether it be for a day or a week or a month or a year. You can look at those different metrics and however that hits you. So again, just sincere thank you, Judy,
My
for
privilege.
being in the interview, for being our cheerleader. Thank you all for tuning in. You know, we really appreciate all the advocacy out there in the market. We appreciate you share this, you like it. It's so cool when one of you who I'm not even connected with, who's maybe even in a different market, somehow the algorithm picks this up and then they share it in, you know, Pennsylvania or something like that. So we just appreciate you tuning in. Thank you as always, and God bless.